Hi there, Kevin Lentz, the pastor of Trinity at Badger Ranch. I want to thank you for joining me again as we kick off this week's worth of devotions. On Mondays, I always recap the sermon I preached on Sundays, so I'm going to do that at this time. And the text I used was from Matthew chapter 10, verses 32 and 33. And that reads, where Jesus said, "Whoever confesses me before people, I'll confess before my Father in heaven. Whoever denies me before people, I will deny before my Father in heaven." As we look at that and how he's saying there to us, I kind of admitted that I don't understand the whole thing where it says that I will confess people before my Father in heaven. I don't know exactly how that looks, but clearly it's something we would want to have happen, even if we don't understand it exactly. But the first part of that, whoever confesses me before people, is how then he'll confess it before his Father. And we can confess Christ in many ways. Through an opportunity, maybe when someone in our lives knows that we have faith, and they might ask a question to, why do you go to church? Why are you sending your children to VBS every night this week? What's so important about this faith thing of yours? Open the door. Great opportunity to say, well, let me tell you about this man that I put my faith and trust in, named Jesus. And we talk about his work, how he's God's son, how he's made us the people of God through what he has done for us. So again, we have ways that we can confess Christ before people. And it's not just verbally either. We can also confess Christ through our actions. We can show the love of God. We can forgive people. We can be kind and compassionate. All these things that God shows to us, we can be thankful to receive them from him, but not hoard them, but share them with the people in our lives. What a great blessing it is to be a believer, a Christian, a child of God. Now, the second verse, verse 33, whoever denies me before people, I will deny before my Father in heaven. Again, I don't know exactly what deny before my Father in heaven means. I don't know if Jesus and his Father talk about us. I don't know exactly what that point is, but whatever it is, we don't want it. I think the last thing you'd ever want in this life is for Jesus to deny us before his Father. Certainly no. But the first part of this, he will do that to whoever denies him before people. We don't want to do that. We're thankful for our faith. We live by it. It impacts us. We know all this stuff that God has done for us. So why would we ever deny being God's people? Why would we display a lack of faith? Why would we take God's name in vain? Why would we do anything that would not show us to be who we know we are, believers in the triune God? So we don't want to deny Christ before others, but instead we want to confess him before others, because we don't want him to deny us before his Father in heaven, but we want him to confess us before his Father in heaven. Now, another point I made was about a choice. I am not saying, because the Bible is very clear on this, we didn't choose to become Christians, we didn't make ourselves Christians, we didn't bring ourselves to the faith. It's God's work. The Holy Spirit has infused us with faith. The Bible is very clear. No one can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. So when we can say, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe his sins, his death has taken away my sins, we can only believe and say those things because the Holy Spirit is in us. But the passage we're looking at today is to believers. Once we've been brought into faith, how are we letting it impact us? Are we believing in God and displaying the faith? Do we believe in God but set our faith aside? Are we believing in God and letting our words, our actions, our activities, our love of others be influenced by who we are as God's people? Or are we just believers on Sunday mornings and being good and right here, but when we leave here, not being who God has called us to be every day of our lives? So again, while we didn't choose Christianity, God chose us. Once we've been brought to faith, we have some wonderful choices to share it, to show it, to display it, to proclaim it, and we have that freedom. Actually, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, also looked at in the sermon, makes that point very clear. Let us, that means you and me, let us throw off everything that hinders and run with perseverance the race marked out for us. And we want to run the race to God's glory and to God's honor and throw off everything that interferes with our faith, because we are the people of God, and how blessed we are to be able to say that. Now, God bless the rest of your day. God bless the rest of your week, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.